Hey, everybody, welcome to the Glory Game podcast. This is an NFL podcast. This is going to be a show that you all going to love. We're going to talk about things that go on not only now in the NFL, but in the past. We're going to talk about the legacy of this great game. Not only the great players, but the great media people that bring this to us every week in and week out, all through the season, from the draft to the Super Bowl. You're going to see a show where we're going to talk about classic uniforms, vintage jerseys, like the Carl Banks jersey I have on right now, representing the New York Giants tonight. But we're also going to talk about new product that's coming out. The Glory Game podcast is officially affiliated with Fanatics.com. You're able to jump on there through our website, get out there, check out the new merch that's out. The NFL draft hats just came out, recently. NFL draft pick jerseys. You're looking for a Mendoza jersey. You Raiders fans out there, they got them on their Fanatics. Jump on the Glory Game podcast website, and you're able to get the new merchandise from Fanatics. Well, tonight we have a very special show. This is the debut episode, and I'm really excited to have two people that actually got me into the podcasting thing, really made me comfortable with being on air, and we were talking music, but we're also talking sports. These guys are two of my favorite people in this business. I want to welcome Tommy Florio and Jeff Tolwinski from the Hard Rock and Sports Show. Guys, what's going on?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Let me see if I can hear Tommy. Can I hear you?
I do not hear Tommy.
Now we don't hear Tommy. Let's see what's going on. There we go.
Okay, I muted myself so I didn't talk while you're doing your intro. Sorry about that.
No, that's no problem.
Hey, John, congratulations on the new show. And if anybody doesn't know John, he's going to do an amazing job hosting the show every week.
I really appreciate it, guys. And
100%. John, a great guy. We know one another through the shows that we've done together, and it's going to be a very enjoyable show, man. Happy to be part of the first episode. Thank you.
Yeah, I love having you guys on. I mean, what better way to debut it than with two of the guys that I love the show. You know that Hard Rock and Sports every Thursday night, 7:00. I mean, get on there. These guys talk. Not only two best friends of it's been like 40, 50 years together, but you guys, the rapport. I mean, you're going to laugh. You're going to get some very good sports talk. And that's why these two are on here today. And I love having you guys on.
Well, we appreciate it. And I have to apologize to the people who watch our show, because sometimes they have to listen to Jeff spout about football and other sports. And we all know his
listen, I just give my opinion on people like Jackson Fart and the rest of the New York Giants. And it's a loosely run organization. It's like a fucking little league team. And it's just terrible. It's terrible that I don't even affiliate myself with that blue side of New York, to be honest with you.
This is what you get on Thursdays. But John, you run your show.
That's definitely what you get on Thursdays.
Exactly. Go ahead, John.
It goes on all the time. So, guys, what I want to talk about is let's start with you, Tommy. I got the Giants jersey on. I got the Banks jersey, and that's my second favorite team, being a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. 86 Giants, loved that team, and that really kicked it into gear. He's got it on now, look. But, Tommy, let's talk about the 2026 New York Giants. The offseason, you have Harbaugh coming in now, new head coach, a full regime change. Jackson Dart showed so much promise last year, but we also saw, some things out of these guys, to where, whoa, is this really going to be, I'm going to say in the next 3 to 5 years, this team is going to be a big time contender, not only for a short term, but for the long term. So let's talk about the 2026 Giants, and let's talk about the draft. What did you think, the draft was like for this team, and how are we going to look in 2026?
Well, I mean, as far as the draft goes, I definitely was I won't say disappointed, but I definitely wanted him to go a different direction. I wanted a linebacker. I wanted a down home, sideline to sideline, middle linebacker And while I didn't get the prototypical one, I do love the potential of Orville Reese, not only as an inside backer, but to be able to move around a little bit. So I did love that, and I do love the pick of the guard at the number 10 pick. Problem for me is with it, and he may turn into being a great guard, but at that point, you had the kid from Penn State, Vega, available at that spot. And if you wanted a true guard, that's the guard. I didn't want to go with a project of taking a guy and moving him from right tackle, where he played his whole career at Miami, inside. Having said that, it could still work out great. I love the draft, Malachi. I love Fields. I thought Colton Hood was a great pick. It's a great start to the offseason.
Yeah, and you look at a guy like Jackson Dart, obviously with the taking the chances, scrambling guy, likes to take those, those extra, strides, but also extra hits. And you bring in a guy like John Harbaugh, who saw that, with Jackson in Baltimore, and he tried to curb that a little bit. So is this something that you think that, Harbaugh is going to bring that in, and he's kind of looking to have more of a, top pocket type passing presence with Jackson Dart?
I think you don't change him. I think Dart's proved he can throw the ball from the pocket. I think the big thing is to, kind of curb the extracurricular hits. It's one thing on a big 4th and 1 or at the goal line, and you kind of give up your body to make that play. But on a regular, 2nd and 14, and you take off running and you're gaining 8 yards, slide. That I think that's the one thing that he has to kind of slow him down with. And I think hopefully between him and the veteran coaching staff he's brought in, I think that message has to be sent to Jackson Dart to say, hey, we need you on the field. You gaining an extra yard in the middle of a week 7 game is meaningless to us. We need you here all year.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot with being young, rookie quarterback. He's trying to, to make the plays. He's trying to prove himself, and that's obviously a very spotlighted fan base. It's a tough fan base to please. This organization is used to seeing teams winning. Obviously Super Bowl championships, but yet JT just had the picture up there. Cam Scatteraboo. He's another guy that, that we really like. I like seeing that guy that's kind of like, to me, he reminds me of like an all-star, Tom Rathman type guy. Obviously coming off the big injury, into 2026. What do you see Scatterbo doing this year?
Well, I think it's going to be the same as last year. I'd like to see him not be the feature back, because I think his style will wear him down. I'd love to see him be the change of pace guy. Get in a series here and there. But another guy I think needs to learn to slip a tackle or two and step out of bounds to really have an impact on the season, because it's great the first few games of the season, but at some point you're going to wear down. And I know it's his style, and that's all I've heard, and it's all I've seen. And I love the enthusiasm and how he plays and attacks the game. But at this level, the guys are all bigger than you. The guys are all as fast as you. Eventually, that's going to wear on you.
There's no doubt about that. And now I got to go to my man Jeff, and let's do this.
Well,
I told you I was going to switch up, man. Look, I got the jersey on, and I got some more.
Before we get too involved with the Jets, I just want to say a few things about the Giants.
Oh boy, here we go.
Let's hear it.
No. I'm going to just being dead serious, and I expect Tommy to do the same if he has it in him. But I don't know. But here's my thoughts about the Giants. I agree with Tommy. If Jackson Dart doesn't start doing the right thing to protect himself, the Giants will be looking to draft a new quarterback any minute now. Okay, he's too risky, and he has to know when to take that risk and when not to take that risk. Totally agree. The guy's going to end up ruining his career if he doesn't learn that very quick. Cam Scatteraboo. All right, I think Cam Scatteraboo is an exciting back for the amount of time that he played. Okay, he looks like he's Amish. I don't know if that translates anything into his game, but He's another one that definitely takes way too many chances. And I also don't like his celebrations. If I was the coach, I would bench him almost immediately when he does one of those stupid backflips and just show him you got hurt on a routine play. Could you imagine what could happen if you do one of your stupid ass things celebrating a touchdown and you get hurt? It could be even worse. And then we got Harbaugh. It's only right that the Giants would go after such a coach who had success. I was still in high school when he was having success, winning Super Bowls, and I'm going to be 60. He, if he doesn't, and here's a question to Tommy that I have yet to ask him on the show, but I'm going to put him on the spot and ask him now. Tommy, how long do you give Harbaugh to make this team relevant and to be a winner? Because do you go 2 years, 3 years? How long are you expecting? And if it doesn't happen, what's the next move for them?
Quick, relevant, competitive this year in the game for playoffs next year for sure, and serious contenders by 28, 29. Yeah. So this year they got to be competitive. You got to,
Right.
you got to be in the games in December. You can't get blown out. You can't blow 8 fourth quarter leads. You got to win some of those games. And next year's the year you got to put the push on to win the division and make a playoff push. That's
so you're cool with Jackson Dart being in the league 4 to 5 years before they're a serious Super Bowl contender?
The Giants won a Super Bowl in Eli's 4th year, right? They won a Super
there
Bowl in
was
Phil
a-
Sims' 7th year.
It's a different kind of league though,
Agreed.
and
Agreed.
Dart is a different kind of player.
He is.
Is he going to hold up for that long?
Again, that's all part of getting to be relevant and good. I can't answer to health injuries. All I can say is based on the team and talent and the ability to attract new players, free agency and draft. You got to figure this year competitive, next year very relevant, and the year after has got to be the Giants are a force in the league. And that's where it's got to be with the coaching staff.
That's it. 3-year plan.
Yeah,
Get them into action there.
Yeah.
And what I like that they did, for this team is they build a good, core of people around Jackson Dart as far as, who's he checked down to. That young rookie quarterback always needs to have a guy that he checks down to. So that we're looking at Scadaboo, but we're also looking at Theo Johnson.
Yes.
We saw some really good play out of him last year.
Yeah.
Made a lot of impact plays. I think he takes a step to the next level this season. I think they're going to start incorporating him a little bit more into the offense. I think, obviously the weapons that they have outside.
Yeah.
I think it's, and I think, what you guys just talking about with Harbaugh, taking that team and making that 3-year plan. I think that's exactly where they're going.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
And to your point, I mean, you got Neighbors, if he's healthy, and it's going to be questionable for me this year if he's going to return to form off of that injury. But between Lively, Fields, there is some talent on that roster, and I do like Theo Johnson. He's got to get past all the drops. Too many drops last year.
Yeah, that was one of the things that curbed him. And is that rookie, being a rookie, and once he starts to, to incorporate himself in.
We'll see.
But Jeff, let's get into the Jets. Number 2 overall pick. Obviously, I think Glenn is a great coach. Last year, it was kind of one of those things where he had to, get all the pieces together. Obviously quarterback with Justin Fields and things like that. Let's talk about the Jets draft, Jeff. And I liked what they did. Number 2 overall. David Bailey, the edge from Texas Tech. What do you think about this pick? And let's get into the draft a little bit about, with this team, because Glenn, you can obviously see is building a team, in his form.
Well, listen, the first year, not much went right. And that's okay. It was his first year. That the roster, they gutted the roster by the halfway point by some of the trades they made. But all they did was they got rid of young players to draft more young, inexperienced players on the team. I understand they got some good guys and they had a decent draft, but it has to translate on the field. We've seen this with the Jets just a few years ago. They took they had 3 first-round picks, and they also picked Brees Hall that year. Uh, it's a lot of it is the coaching staff too. Glenn made a lot of mistakes. There's no denying that. So you got to hope that he rebounds and that they know what's going on. I think that the general manager made a few smart moves. Uh, Sauce Gardner, getting rid of Sauce Gardner. Sometimes I liked its trade. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know if it was such a smart idea because now you had to go out and you had to get another cornerback. So you got rid of guys, but you had to replace them. So it isn't like they were 1 or 2 pieces away. They needed a lot of pieces to become relevant again. And this is a team at 3-14. They have no way to go but up. And this is a big year for them. And I don't have a 3-year window for Aaron Glenn. So if this team doesn't start to show something, and I'll say this much, and I know Tommy will probably disagree with me, if they were to finish 3-14 again, but lost 11 of those 14 games in a last possession, or they lost by 3 points or less, I could deal with that because at least they're showing competitiveness. But they also have to throw some wins up on the board too. They can't have another season of 3-14 because it's just gonna take whatever air they have in their sails right out. And listen, with 3 first-round picks in a perfect world, the kid, what the fuck is his name? The quarterback. Damn.
The kid they drafted, Cade Kublik.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying a lot of good things about him, and I understand it's practice, but hopefully maybe they found somebody, and you don't know. And in a perfect world, he would be great, and he would be the man, and then they would have 3 first-round picks to put some real talent on that team. And that could end up being a dangerous team very soon if things go the right way. But this is the New York Jets. So they can have Tom Brady, Jerry Rice, and a whole bunch of other people, and they're just not going to make it. That's how I see it. But I can only hope. I've been hoping for a very long time now, man. Very long time,
Long time.
So let's see what happens.
We talked about that a lot on a Sunday Audible too, Jeff, and I'm with you. I want to see a team like the Jets, be relevant again. You want to see, you're hoping that Aaron Glenn can be that guy to get them back into that relevancy. I mean, he comes in obviously from Detroit, and we knew that he had a lot of work ahead of him. But I think really what he's putting together right now is a solid team, a great young team. You got a great running back, one of the best in the league, obviously. Excellent receiving core. It's just one of those things where if this all comes together and these guys stay healthy, is this a team that could make some noise in the division this year?
I don't see them contending for a playoff spot this year. But you want to know something? This is the NFL. Stranger things have happened.
Right.
I'm going to say this much, and me and Tommy, I know that we spoke about this. There was one maneuver that Aaron Glenn did on the sideline one time. There was a great play by the Jets, and he did this real ghetto type dance. Do you remember that, Tom?
Yeah, he was running down the sideline like a marching band.
Yeah, and then he did this slew-footed thing, and it's like that was like borderline embarrassing. You're a 3-14 team. You what you need to do at this point in time is to support the players, not do your personal celebrations, and make sure that the team stays in the game and plays hard. And I thought it was an immature Bush League move on his part, the way that he did that in that game. I wish I could remember what game it is. My mind is like Swiss.
It was early, but go ahead.
It was early, but it was early enough that they couldn't have been no more than like 1-8 at the time. So, this wasn't a team that was in contention at the time. They were already out of it. But I do like the general manager. I think that he's smart. I think he's made some smart moves so far. You just got to hope they all come together. That's all. I do like the draft they got, but once again, you got to keep your fingers crossed and just say this is the Jets. So you got to expect whatever comes your way.
And you're looking at that too, Jeff, and you're looking at I didn't get a chance to talk about it earlier, but strength of schedule. The schedule just came out. We're looking at it right here, and the percentage, the 5-17. So they're playing a lot of good teams here. So it's going to be you're looking at Tennessee, but you got Green Bay, Detroit, you got the Bears. I mean, you're looking at all big time teams there, and the Patriots coming up.
Listen,
In the middle of that.
You look at that, and up to week 6, there's a possibility that they can be 0-6. They could be 2-4. I'm thinking that they're going to be more 2-4 than 0-6, but that's a rough 3-game stretch. Green Bay, Detroit, and the Bears. My God, that's going to be a measuring stick for them, definitely. And if they lose the first game to the Titans and Robert Salah, they're gonna be behind the 8 ball, man. They really are.
That's right. I think that's a game that they need to be up for. Starting out of the gate, they need to be tough. I mean, they need to be at least competitive. If they go in and lose that game at Tennessee, but it's something like they lose 24-23 or something like that, but they are competitive. That's what we want to see out of this team. We want to see them be competitive out of the gate, and then going into Green Bay. That's always a tough game.
Sure.
So coming out of Tennessee with a win, and even going into Green Bay, starting 1-1, I think we'll start to see a little bit of, this team needs to see that they need to see, hey, look, we can win. We're able to get out there and we're able to be competitive in this league, and I think for these young kids, they need to see that. And once they start, getting that atmosphere and starting to see it, then it's time for them to, to know, hey, we can play here.
You look at that schedule, and it's a bad sign. Every single game is 1 o'clock except for 2. They don't have one game in prime time. They don't have, that is a team that is definitely Sunday filler, without a doubt. If you're not a fan, you're not going to be watching them.
I would tell you that this season for the Jets, in my opinion, is big for a lot of reasons. Obviously, the problem for the Jets is their coach is still unproven, and the way they ended the season was terrible. And their last 5 or 6 games, they were uncompetitive, and it looked like they weren't even trying. And that is a bad sign for a first-year coach. So if they were to get off to a bad start early, lose to the Titans, lose 2 out of 3, maybe 3 out of 3 of those games, and then have to go to Cleveland begging for a win, or at home against Cleveland, excuse me. It's tough. And this team needs to win early. You guys have made a great point about this, and Jeff spends all the time. This team needs to win early, because if you get off to that rough start, and then all these guys are thinking is, well, this is, last year all over again. And then by week 5, this team is quitting and you're selling off again. So a big start for this team is very important. And their draft wasn't terrible. Couple of questionable things, but a good draft early.
Hey, JT posted it a little bit earlier. Who makes the playoffs first, the Giants or the Jets? I know you guys will battle out on this one. Well, so I figured I'll throw it out there and just.
I'll tell you, I think it's the Giants, and I'll only tell you why. I think the Giants division is taking a big step backwards. I think the other division, the Patriots are better. The Bills are still the Bills. Miami's going to be a shit show this year, but they're going to come back. I think they're going to regroup in a few years, and I think it's a better conference. I think the Giants, by default of a worse division, have a better chance of, and a worse conference, have a better chance, in my opinion, than the Jets. Plus, the Giants have their quarterback and for sure their coach. I'm not sure the Jets do.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. The Giants have a very important piece in place, which is Dart. As long as he plays smart and he stays healthy, I see no reason why the Giants won't get in near the playoffs first. It's actually, to tell you the truth, it's a hard toss-up because the Jets have 3 number 1 first-round picks coming up in next year's draft in 2027. Mm-hmm. If they hit on half the picks they make between this year and next year, that could launch this team to the next level very quickly. The Giants have too many injury questions for me. Dart was in the concussion protocol, 3 times this year? And I know that I think he missed minimal time, but nonetheless, he plays dangerous. Scatterbull got hurt, and I understand it was a regular play, but Neighbors also 2 years in a row that guy got hurt. He had some kind of injury that ended his season early. So I'm not saying that they're fragile by any stretch, but they got to play smart. If they don't play smart, they're not going to be playing in January and February. That's for sure. But I got to go along with Tommy. I think that the Giants have the better shot of getting into the playoffs first.
It's a good take there too, guys. With that situation, I mean, watching the Giants closely, especially the last couple of years, the injuries are just killing this team. I mean, you can't have any type of cohesion or chemistry, when you got, both of your starting receivers out. Scadaboo obviously last year after he was getting, on a roll. I mean, he was starting to, to me, you saw the fans just, and everybody just started to go up another notch when Jackson Dart came in, and when Scadaboo was playing the way that he did. You started to see that, the chemistry was there. Everything started to kind of flow. And I think with John Harbaugh stepping in now, I think that's gonna be, this team really bringing that, cohesive piece into the locker room, into that training facility, and really bring this team, to a whole.
I would agree with you, John. And I got to be honest with you. I think that there's been such a lackadaisical atmosphere in the Giant locker room the last decade, maybe since the end of Coughlin, that a lot of these injuries are, we're not a good team. My hamstring is a little tight this week. I'm not going to play. Scadaboo, again, the guy nearly, tore off his leg playing it and not play. But there's a lot of soft tissue injuries for the Giants, a lot of questionable ones. And I think now with Harbaugh, and you're already hearing it from the players, Thibodeau's already come out and said this is the hardest camp, hardest OTAs he's been involved with in his few years. I think it's the mindset, the same as when Coughlin came in after Fossil was, suck it up, buttercup, we're going to play football. And I think that's the difference in the Giants, hopefully this year.
That's definitely.
Here's a question geared towards both of you guys, but more so Tommy than you. Once again, with Harbaugh, the last time that he got a team to the Super Bowl was for Flacco, and then he had Lamar Jackson, who was MVP 2 or 3 times for him, and they just couldn't get over the hurdle. Now he has a quarterback that's not as experienced as Lamar Jackson, and he's basically starting over again. Do you think that's going to play into it? I mean, do you think he's going to be able to push this kid the right way and get that team, him and that team, over the hump? Because he wasn't able. Yes, he made the playoffs every year, but he wasn't able to really capitalize with Lamar Jackson. And I think that Dart, is definitely not Lamar Jackson as far as scrambling ability. He could scramble, yeah, but Lamar Jackson wasn't getting decapitated. That's that's the thing for me. He knew when to get out of the way and not take the massive hit.
Well, I think the difference is simple. Lamar Jackson is a one-dimensional player. I know he's gotten better throwing the football, but he would take advantage of the weaker teams in the regular season, get to the playoffs, and he would face a defense that came up and said, throw the ball, you're not going to run, and they had no success, and they had no answer. I think Dart, at this point, is a better passer than Jackson was in his first 5, 6, 7 years in the league. So I think that's the difference. The question is, can Harbaugh keep Dart healthy, running enough to keep defenses honest and not, focusing on him running the football? But I think John would probably be better for this one because he got to watch him play a lot more than I did.
Yeah, I think Jeff's right on that. I mean, Lamar Jackson, even though the guy, I consider him a great player. Being a Steeler fan, it's hard to say it, but he really is. I mean, he's a tremendous athlete. But I think another thing you look at with that Ravens team was the lack of weapons, especially in the receiving core. I think that's one of the things that the Giants have with Jackson Dart. Obviously you have that guy that has that escapability, able to scramble and able to play that style of offense. But I think he has a better complement of weapons around him, going in, to this. I mean, I think we're going to start to see in the next 2 years what Jackson Dart is really about. Obviously he has that team. They see him as a leader. He needs to continue to, to grow, be that leader that team needs, and be able to take them over the hump. So I think they're on the right path. Let's put it that way. They're getting stronger. Well, guys,
Yeah, I could agree with that. I mean, I would like to see them, watch this team grow, because if both teams are successful, it's good for New York. And there's been no playoff football except for 1, 2 games in the last 11, 12 years.
Yep.
And it's disgusting. A market like New York, it's not a small market team. You would think that players would be flocking to get here and that they would bring winning ways with them, but it just hasn't been the case here. I would like to see the Giants be competitive. It's good for us. It's good for New York. It's good for football in general if there's a New York team involved. And there's just certain teams I'm tired of seeing. I don't want to see New England in there anymore. I'm tired of seeing Philadelphia. I'm kind of tired of seeing Kansas City, but he's getting close to some records that I'd like to see him break and get Brady's name off of. So I'm good with the Chiefs winning for a couple more years.
you know I'm in there with you on that, Jeff.
Yeah, I hear that.
Hey, we're talking New York winning football, okay, guys? So let's jump into your favorite players of all time, and I'm going to go with Jeff right now because I know this one. We talk about this all the time. You throw it in Tommy's face an awful lot, which I think is hysterical. But let's get into that, Jeff. Favorite player, New York Jet of all time.
There are a lot of players that I like on the Jets. I mean, Darrelle Revis was great. Curtis Martin was great. Nick Mangold is an icon.
Awesome.
But out of all of them, you got to go with Joe Namath. Joe Namath stood up in front of a bunch of people, an 18-point underdog, and guaranteed a Super Bowl victory. I still go to bed at night believing that he sold his soul to the devil, and that the Jets are going to do anything until Joe Namath is no longer with us. There is no other explanation why he was able to stand up, say what he said, and then deliver and walk out of there with a victory. But with a team with not much to look back on, how could you not say Joe Namath? And even the guys that I mentioned, they can't meet up with Joe, man.
Let's watch it.
I gotta tell you, one of the greatest arms I've ever seen. We watch him throw a deep pass, and the ball leaves his hand, and it's gone in a rocket. It's one of the best throws
New York Jets
you could ever
are the
see.
world champions. They have upset the Baltimore Colts.
There was such a feeling of elation, joy, tickling explosion inside. We did it! We did it! Yes! 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 Oh, it was great.
It's great seeing that segment too. Jeff, I told you, I came.
Get a little teary-eyed after seeing that. I don't want to see my eyes glisten.
I don't even think they had Super Bowl trophies back then. I think it was so long ago. It was like a wooden plaque they gave you when you won the Super Bowl.
Guys that won the bowling league on Thursday night got a better fucking trophy. Right?
It just said, "Look here's something," and we found it right off the street. Let's just hand it to him. And
the one thing that you got to remember too about Joe Namath, he was the first quarterback to throw for over 4,000 yards. And while he didn't hold that record that very long, and it's been eclipsed many, many, many times afterwards, he was still the first one to do it in a league where passing was not paramount as it is today. And listen, was his statistics great? No, they were basically atrocious. But he's still going to be the best quarterback for the New York Jets until somebody else comes around and wins too. And he's held the record for the last 50, almost 60 years. So I can't say nothing about him. And when he wants a kiss, he goes after it. What can I tell you? The man's an icon.
I think that's it. I think that might not be the greatest quarterback in the world. It might not be the greatest person in the world. But Joe Namath is iconic. And obviously, I've always said, well, I don't think he was the greatest quarterback I ever got to see or had the greatest career. What that team did winning that Super Bowl changed football forever. And they should be remembered for that. And he should have a special place in the NFL. He brought that spotlight, guaranteed to win, big game, boring probably at the time. All of a sudden, they win that, and now there's a perk up about the league. And I iconic for sure.
He changed it. It's like Babe Ruth calling his shot.
Absolutely.
You know, when he brought that out and he made that statement. But I'll tell you what, isn't if we look back on things that you've seen, you know, in the NFL, there's nothing better than seeing Joe Namath on that sideline asking for a kiss from Susie Colbert. I mean, it's got to be one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
I remember watching that
live. It was
live.
so great too. Just classic Joe, man.
I remember watching that live, and they were interviewing, and I was like, there's something not right about Joe tonight. I wonder what it is. And then all of a sudden, I don't care. I just want to kiss you. And I'm like, this man's fucking ripped out of his mind. But you know what? Too. It just added to it, man. And life Joe just kept going. That's all there is to it, you know. He's awesome. What can I tell you?
In the age of cancel culture and Me Too, Joe just stepped right through it, ran right over it.
Oh my God!
Said, I don't care. I don't care.
You know, listen. I know that you have a timeline you got to take care of and everything on the show, but I got to say this much. Think of this: he did not care. He did that on live TV on a primetime game. That goes to show you whatever Joe's main move was worked more often than not. Just think of that. Whatever it is that he did, it worked for him more often than not.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt. That wasn't
the first time he pulled that move out of
No, definitely not.
That's right.
Definitely not.
I mean, you're talking about a guy that did a pantyhose commercial. I mean, this is. I mean, he's just. There's been nobody that's even touched Joe Namath as far as.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, think about it. I mean, in those years, I mean, the guy was advertising for everything. I mean, I'm sure athletes did commercials back then, and there was cigarette commercials and this and that. You know, he was actually going up for TV shows back in the 70s. So Joe Namath, icon, you know, kind of glosses over the actual career, you know, and numbers, but you can't knock him off the mountaintop. That guy put the NFL and the Super Bowl on the map.
There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
No doubt.
He definitely took it to the next. He definitely kicked it up a level. I'm not going to say he took it up to the next level. He definitely kicked it up a level. You know, listen, it's a game that we all watch. Yeah. It's somebody that played the game. It's the history of the game that we want to see. Mm-hmm. And we were lucky enough to have him in New York and be a Jet. And we were lucky enough to be able to see some of his games, even if it was later in his career. Maybe we didn't catch the vintage Joe, but we did see some of Joe play, you know, and it's great to always see an NFL icon play. And I know Tommy's had several of them on the Giants. You've had several of them with the Steelers. You know, I haven't had so many with the Jets, and I might have been young when Namath was there, but I got to see some of the highlights, and I got to see some of his games when I was younger. Good times.
You know, we're talking greatness on this show, and we always want to tie into, you know, the legends. You know, obviously it's not just about today's game, but we want to pay homage and pay tribute to, you know, the players of yesteryear. And I want to mention two guys. There it is, right there. That's like the perfect.
Nice.
You know, you couldn't. Vintage Joe.
Board Op is great.
One of the greatest. You know, moments in NFL history. I have to honestly say that Chrissy and I still talk about that. There's be times where she'll say, "I want to kiss you," or you know, just say something like that. And it's iconic.
Absolutely.
But Tommy,
the worst part, you know what he did when he went home, right?
That's not even big enough.
He released a bunch of little Namaths on the field. You know that.
All right, John, it's time to move on to the next topic.
You know, we're talking great NFL players here, guys. And Tommy, you know, we talked about your favorite player of all time, you know, for the Giants, and obviously, you know, Rob Carpenter, who I thought was a, you know, tremendous player. One of those guys, kind of like a Scatterboo, type player. But you also have another one. I mean, this icon is up on my wall back here. You know, the guy that changed the game. I mean, back in the 80s when he came in, you know, do you want to say greatest linebacker of all time? I definitely do. I do, because he changed the game in so many ways. I mean, with his speed and athleticism and the way he brought that position to, you know, to the forefront. And that man is, I'm going to let you say it, Tommy.
Lawrence Taylor.
All right.
not only the greatest linebacker, I think the greatest defensive player, and you guys can tell me the guy you would argue or put ahead of him, but possibly to me the greatest football player of all time, for the reasons you said. The guy came in and did something that nobody could do or did, and all of a sudden there were a bunch of little LTs running around with guys like Andre Tippett and Ricky Jackson and Pat Swilling. All of a sudden that was the prototype, but entire offenses were changed to stop him, and there's not many people in this in football ever in the modern day. I'm sure maybe back in the Red Grange and Jim Thorpe days, maybe
those guys don't count.
Right. Yeah. The NFL
nothing that happened before the Super Bowl counts.
Yeah, it's a big thing we say on the show all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the NFL doesn't want to even admit.
Here we go. Let's run it, man. Debut episode. We're ready for it, man.
One man beats another, and down he goes. There's something about Lawrence Taylor that is larger than life.
Back looking into a hit, taken down by Taylor. Lawrence Taylor comes on the scene, and we've never seen anybody that ferocious, that talented.
Once he gets the quarterback at his sights, he's going to get him.
The last defensive football player to win the most valuable player award.
I tell you, Lawrence Taylor is going to be a force in this league.
LT is known for sacking quarterbacks, and that's the videos people show all the time, and it rightfully so. He made the sack famous at that point. But you couldn't run away from LT. You couldn't run at LT. And deceptively, he wasn't a bad defender downfield. Not great, but to me, he just changed the way the game was played. He changed offenses forever. And to me, people argue Jerry Rice. It could be him. It could be Montana. To me, the greatest player, Jerry Rice didn't change the way the game was played. He did a different level for a long time. But LT changed football in the 80s. And if he'd only concentrated on the game and stayed out of the bars a little bit, I can only imagine what it might have looked like.
You know what, Tom? We talk about LT and obviously Carl Banks is my favorite Giant of all time.
I'm just take a quick nap during this segment. Wake up when it's over, right?
But I'll tell you one thing that I loved about LT, and it's the craziest thing, the face mask.
Mm-hmm.
That face mask that he wore, it was just like it was the coolest that I've ever seen in NFL history. I mean, you started to see guys starting to incorporate that, like a guy like Hugh Green had it. And, you said Andre Tippett, who I think is another great player.
Sure.
Just really, seeing that, was really cool.
It hit a lot. It hit a lot of the men. It hit a lot of the emotion. It hit the eyes. So, when you saw that, I understand what you're saying. A lot of those face masks from a lot of those guys, and not every team had a face mask like that.
Right.
It was like a complete cage, and you couldn't see nothing. And you're like, what is this guy thinking? Is he salivating? Is he in pain? What is he thinking? And you couldn't see, and definitely with Lawrence Taylor. But so many white lines in front of Lawrence Taylor.
From the face mask on.
But again, John, you brought up Banks, and I think Banks is, Klecko for me the last couple of years was the guy who was deservedly so of the Hall of Fame, and it was a tragedy that he didn't get in. And I think Banks is that guy now. Carl Banks in that era, if he didn't play behind or play next to two Hall of Famers in Taylor and Harry Carson, and another great linebacker in Gary Reasons, who was a college football Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah,
Carl Banks was probably if not the best or second best all-around linebacker in football at that point. I mean, so great call by you. Carl Banks is completely underrated as a football player.
I totally agree.
Was he underrated, Tom, or was it just he played with Lawrence Taylor, and how you're going to compete?
Well, that's the problem.
No matter how good you are, you're playing with Lawrence Taylor, you can only be number 2 at best.
To me, that linebacking core might be the best in history. I mean, there's great ones, but if you look at that, there's 2 Hall of Famers. There should be a 3rd Hall of Famer, and between Gary Reasons and Pepper Johnson, 2 outstanding middle linebackers who had really good careers. give me some linebacking cores that were better longer than they were. And yeah, that's a great mask.
There it is, right
John.
there.
Good call.
There it is.
It was
That's
a
awesome.
scary mask. It was a great helmet and a scary mask. And I love the fact that they brought those uniforms back.
And JT has everything. When we talk about this, he brings up the clips. This guy runs the show like a pro, man. Thanks, JT, for
does a great job
supporting his debut show. Well, guys, listen, we got the segment here. We're talking about, intensity of the game. We're talking about these tough players, and these guys, but these guys really sacrifice, to get to this level. The workout routines and the way they prepare themselves. You look at Walter Payton, climbing the hill is kind of what started it. Jerry Rice catching bricks, to be the strength of that level. But I want to talk about Derrick Henry in this segment. And what is it, guys?
Racked and jacked.
All right, JT, roll this, man.
Derrick Henry was already deadlifting 550 pounds, squatting 500, and benching 365. Now King Henry is a 6'3", 247-pound beast. And as the tallest running back in the NFL today, he has all the numbers to back up his insane career. Nearly a decade of NFL football would destroy most running backs, but King Henry is built different, still dominating the league at age 30. That's what you get when you spend $240,000 every year on body maintenance.
Why do you think this is where my money should go?
I saw that story on LeBron. He spends like $1 million a year on his body, and LeBron is a GOAT.
This includes a personal chef, IV fluids, vitamins, and much more. But it takes more than six-figure expenses and fancy products to make Derrick Henry one of the freakiest athletes the NFL has ever seen. His workout and diet reflect that to the extreme. So let's talk workouts first. Yes, pro athletes need high-intensity training, full recovery, and rest. But what does Henry's entire week look like? While it's said that the average NFL player works out 5 times a week, Henry, of course, tops that. His insane work ethic allows him to work out 6 times a week, with 1 full day for recovery. And throughout his week, Henry's workouts are broken down into 3 main components. Let's start with number 1, Henry's lower body workout, which is insane. This training has allowed him to reach top speeds of 21.8 miles per hour, run a 4.5 40-yard dash, and have a 37-inch vertical leap. So, what does he do to reach these numbers? Well, his leg workouts include hill sprints, hill agility work, Bulgarian split squats, deadlifts, box jumps, one-legged squats, and 500-pound squats. And with Henry's goal to gain even more mass, he maintains 6 to 8 reps per set for max return. He even does football route exercises on hill inclines. But shockingly, it's Henry's cardio work that actually separates him from the pack. I mean, no NFL back will succeed without great cardio, but Henry pushes this to the max with a huge collection of footwork drills, hurdles, sled work, elliptical machine work, and more. This is what helps Henry get stronger and harder to tackle as the game goes on. With his cardio, when the 4th quarter rolls around and his opponents are getting tired, the King is just getting started. But every NFL running back also needs a strong upper body to take hits, maintain ball control, and stiff-arm tacklers, something Henry is well versed in. While Derrick Henry can bench up to 365 pounds and power clean 345, it's the other work that's even more impressive. This includes a mixture of hammer curls, dumbbell press, pull-ups, multi-grip bench press, push-ups, these push-up variations, overhead press, and bent-over rows. And just like his lower body exercises, Henry likes to do just 6 to 8 reps with heavy weight for upper body. This helps build mass, power, and strength, essential for the running back position. But, of course, you can't forget his insane core work. Landmine rotational press, weighted toe touches, hanging leg raise pull-ups, and medicine ball work, just to name a few. However, the most important part of Henry's workout is the recovery. And his thorough recovery process is a huge part of his 6-figure body maintenance expenses. This includes cold therapy, infrared sauna, hyperbaric oxygen, massage therapy, and body work, to go with cupping, dry needling, acupuncture, cold tubs, hot tubs, Epsom salt baths, and a hyperbaric oxygen chamber that brings oxygen into the body, speeding up the recovery process. Because after a long season, a running back with nearly a decade of NFL experience needs needs to recover quickly to bounce back each week. But something that might surprise you is how much harder Henry works out during the NFL offseason. Once the NFL season is over, he immediately goes to 2-a-day workouts, working out 4 to 5 hours a day. These workouts include 10 sprints up a 100-yard hill, hammer curls with 80-pound dumbbells, and Bulgarian split squats with 120-pound dumbbells. Now, for a world-class athlete who is working non-stop year-round, you know Derrick Henry wouldn't be able to do what he does without an extreme diet. Another large part of that six-figure maintenance expense goes to his personal chef, who makes every meal for him. This helps Henry put down around 3,500 calories every day, but in an odd way. His diet is very strict.
No gluten, no artificial sugars, no fried foods, no dairy.
And he tries to drink as much water as he can every single day. Henry's pre-practice meal consists of just kale, an avocado, or a banana. That's it. Then, 3 times a week for a workout boost, IV fluids that include vitamin E and coenzyme Q10. But not only that, the timing of his diet routine is absurd because during the NFL season, Henry's first meal of the day doesn't come until 4 or 5 p.m. It is slightly more tame during the offseason, having his first meal at 1 p.m. But regardless of the time of year, King Henry only has one other meal the rest of the day, and that's at 8 p.m. However, these 2 meals are much more than a single avocado or a banana. According to Henry, he has 3 chicken breasts, some rice, some broccoli, then some gluten-free pancakes, scrambled eggs, diced potatoes, home fries, and some steak. With this insane diet and workout routine, it's no wonder how Derrick Henry has maintained his top form year after year. And he loves doing it. According to Henry, if I'm going to spend time somewhere, it will probably be a gym, because that's what I love doing. If you enjoyed this video, stick with Blitz, subscribe, and check out some of our other content right here.
So I want to thank Blitz for for putting that out on YouTube, and we shared it because we want to show some of the backstory of these athletes. Everybody talks about what's going on now and all the things that are happening, but we want to take it back a little bit. We want to appreciate, Derrick Henry obviously has been a great back in this league. They're talking about a decade right there. And the guy, what's cool about Henry is he gets better the longer the game goes on, the more carries he gets. I mean, he could be stopped in the beginning and have 10 yards on 15 carries, and then all of a sudden he ends the game with 150 yards on 17, 18 carries. I mean, the guy's amazing.
Oh, there's no doubt, and you can see why. I mean, that's an insane workout, and his, right down to nutrition. Again, I would think that most athletes would be in this category. Maybe not this crazy like him and Brady were, but the fact that they're not is. But yeah, I mean, that's insane, and you can see why he's a great player and why he's maintained at a position that usually lasts a short amount of time. I mean, right, Jeff? I mean, usually running backs 3-4 years, and you're get the next guy up.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, and he's still going. No sign of him stopping. The guy has an incredible physique. He's putting in the effort. He's putting in the work.
Yeah.
An incredible amount of calories that he consumes a day, and he's turning it into his body. The guy definitely gets a lot of white women. I'll say that much right off the bat. So
he does.
There's definitely a career for him on Brazzers when he's done in the NFL, without a doubt.
Well, one thing I have to take him to task on, and I have to disagree, is LeBron James is not the GOAT. I don't know what he's been watching. Maybe he's not eating enough early in the day, but LeBron James is not the GOAT. So tell Derrick Henry.
While LeBron's day has come and gone, we all know that.
Yes.
There's not many guys that are still playing in the NBA because they want to be there. Not, you know what I mean? He's over 20 years at this point in time.
Yeah, sure, more.
He's not the GOAT that he once was, but if the Knicks don't win the NBA championship and LeBron became available, I think they should go kick the tires on him. No. They may want to use him as a 6th or 7th man off the bench. No.
Wrong spot for the show. Go ahead, John.
Hey, we talk about everything. That's why I bring you guys on. It's always entertaining. It's always great to talk. Well, let's talk about this, guys. We're talking about that, the 2026 NFL draft. And I like to talk uniforms and jerseys. We talk about this, and I've thrown some things out there to you guys, in the past shows that we did when we did the Sunday Audible and Fanatics. I get on there a lot. I get on there to look at different things. I mean, they have great sales, sometimes in off-season apparel, when the NFL season's out, you get to see some really cool things. I got the New York Giants hat I had on earlier. The Jets hat I have on right now, $7.99. You're looking at brand new 2023 sideline hats, but hey, look, but you got the NFL draft hats now. You got the rookie jerseys. Who are you guys looking for? Let's get into the rookie class. I mean, it doesn't have to be the Giants. It doesn't have to be the Jets. Who are we looking for, and what jersey is going to look best on them if you guys are going to go out there and purchase one? If it's not the Giants or the Jets.
Wow. Boy, oh boy, that's a great. I tell you what. I mean, I have some favorites out there. I mean, I have to say, I wish the Jets would bring back the older uniforms. I'm not fans of that. Of the current ones, to be honest with you, I love the Dolphin uniforms. I always have. I love their helmets. I would love to get a, the Dolphin one would be one right off the bat. Other than that, I mean, unless you can't go wrong with the Raiders, getting the Mendoza jersey while he's still in the league before he's working in Taco Bell soon. Yeah, I mean, off the bat of my time, anything Dolphin related for me, I love it. I think it's great.
Tommy brings up the Jet uniforms, and we talk about this a lot. And I got to be honest with you, I wish the Jets would just scrap everything that they have uniform-wise and start over again. I have never once in my lifetime ever seen a Jet green. The Winnipeg Jets, they redid their uniform. They had also the Jets, and it was more of a Jet-type logo on their uniform, which I would have thought was better. I just wanted to add that because I'm kind of tired of looking at the Jets. I think maybe if they got a new uniform, maybe they would start winning a little bit. But as far as NFL uniforms go, there's a lot of classic uniforms that really look sharp. The Steelers are one that look good. I love that gold. The Packers, I love that green and gold.
Yep.
I like the Lions, just about any variation of what the Lions do. The Falcons. But what I really like a lot, believe it or not, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I agree with you.
That pewter helmet and the colors they got. And the New Orleans Saints. I always like the Saints. And when the 49ers have that one color, it's like a certain color maroon. It's a little darker than their usual.
Right.
With the black outline on the numbers. That is sharp. But you know what? I don't know enough about the rookie class to pick one, but I will say if I had to pick one, I would go with Arvell Reese because as a Jet fan, they were jamming him down our throat for the longest time, and then they didn't take him. So I was kind of hoping to see Arvell Reese be a Jet, but with that blue Giant uniform and with the Giants helmet with Giants on the side, not NY, that is definitely one of the sharpest uniforms in the league. And not for nothing, it is the color of our country, 250 years, red, white, and blue. So you can't go wrong with that at all.
No doubt about it.
There you go.
If I had to choose, guys, I mean, there's one uniform that I've always loved, and it's the Chargers, blue. I mean, that blue, that light blue with the gold, and I know that, when they do the best uniforms in the league and things like that one's always up there. But I love that it has that, that classic, iconic style. You're looking at that old AFL look.
Yeah.
And it's great to see that. And like Tommy, you mentioned the Dolphins too. I'd love to see them go more, to that throwback style.
Absolutely. Bring back the old helmet with that they wore back in the 80s. I mean, I think those, same thing for the Patriots. I love when the Patriots come out with those old 70s uniforms with the, those are sharp. And while some of the new variations are nice, I just think, these throwbacks need to come back.
I agree.
It depends on who it is, man. You want a throwback? I'll give you a throwback uniform that I would love to see come back, and that would be the Chargers, the old dark blue uniform. While the light uniform is nice, the light blue is kind of a soft look to me. I would like to see the dark blue, the Dan Fouts era,
Oh
when
yeah,
he was playing.
absolutely.
Yeah,
That was a
nice.
cool uniform. That lightning bolt
100%.
stood out with the
Yeah.
dark blue helmet. That was a sharp looking uniform for its time.
100%. Yeah.
I
100%.
don't mind the Chargers uniform, but to me, it looks too much like a college uniform. I don't think it has a place in the NFL. I think it could be better.
I like it for the reason John brings, because it reminds me of the AFL uniforms, and I think it's fun to throw those back. As a full-time uniform, I would say no, but as their throwback, it's great. But I agree with you, Jeff. I would love to see them bring back those 80s,
Right.
Yeah, Dan Fouts era uniforms. I think those were sharp, and I know teams want to change, and it's all about getting jersey sales and fanatics. That's what they do, but bring back some of those old time uniforms as your full time. I'd love to see the Giants go back to those 80s uniforms at full time, and then use the NYs as the throwbacks. I think they're just sharper looking.
Yeah, I got to agree.
That's right.
I got to definitely agree.
Yeah.
There was just something about that navy blue for the Giants, because the Bears, not for nothing, for years I thought the Bears were black uniforms, and they were navy blue, and for years I'm just like, it turned me off. When was the last time you seen a navy blue bear? I've yet to see one anywhere. I have not ever seen a navy blue bear. So I don't know who fucking picked that out, man.
The Bears white jersey to me is sharp. The Bears white one I like better.
It's hard to disagree with that.
I love the white when they wear the white. And to be truth, the same thing for the Cowboys. When the Cowboys wear their dark blue or their blue jerseys, I like them better. I know that their traditional is the white and all of that, but when they wear the blue, forget it. I love that uniform. I'm not a Cowboy fan, but those are sharp. I've always loved them.
I agree with
that. Out of feeling that blue uniform.
There are certain teams.
Yeah, that's the uniform for the Jets right there. If you're gonna bring back a uniform, that to me is one of the best ever.
That's so plain.
I get it, but it's so iconic. The helmet logo, I just think that's iconic. I don't know what you do with the colors, but to me, that's the best era of Jet uniforms, hands down, my opinion.
I would love to see the Jets. You're right. I don't know what color to go with, because you can't go black and silver. The Raiders got that. Yeah. You can't go black and red. The Falcons have it. Can you go black and gold? Nah, it's kind of the Saints or whatever. But maybe black and copper. Maybe some chrome on the helmet, or something. A black helmet with some chrome, right, or whatever. You got to do something. The green, they look like a high school uniform, man.
Black and green uniforms to me are terrible. I don't know what they're thinking about with those uniforms. So that's my opinion.
I don't know. I mean, listen, you like them, John. The one that you have on, that was when fucking Aaron Glenn was playing, and back in the early '90s, and even your shoulders look humongous with that. And you're not even wearing shoulder pads.
That's
Those
Johnny,
guys look like
Johnny
monsters
Johnson
back then with them.
Yeah, that was it.
Like that, man.
There it is. There's the man.
The Sims jersey. Yeah, that era of uniform is, that's the Giants uniform that I remember.
Absolutely.
I'd love to see that again.
100%.
I would love to see that again. So everybody that's listening in, glorygamennflpodcast.com. You'll be able to catch all the shows, all the things that are upcoming, player interviews, media interviews, a lot of the things that are happening with the show. We're going to be talking jerseys every week. We're going to be talking great players and great player workouts. And I want to thank these two guys. I mean, these two guys are some of my best friends, even though we've never met personally, and I hope we do one of these days. I mean, these are the two guys that I definitely want to have a chance to meet, before I'm long gone, to have a chance to, just to sit down and have a beer with them, because it's a great show that they do, Hard Rockin' Sports, every Thursday night at 7:00. Get in there and listen to it, because you're going to hear, not only some great sports and music talk, but some of the most off the wall report that you ever want to hear. I mean, they make me laugh every single time I get on there and listen. It's a fantastic show. I love you guys. I'm so happy to have you on as the debut episode of this show. And what better way to open this, than to have two of my favorites on here.
I'll say thank you, John. I appreciate it, and we wish you tremendous luck and success. I know you're going to be. I know your passion for football and for doing this. And JT, with a guy like JT behind you, you can only hit the big heights. And I wish you the best. And I thank you for having me on and having us on on your first show. That means a lot to us, and thank you so much. It really was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Tommy got me involved with the podcast many years ago when we were doing it on the phone, and we had a lot of fun with that. And then we went video, and it's been great. And we've been doing it for a long, long time now. This is my chance to hang out with Tommy once a week, and we have off show the way that we do it, and I wouldn't change anything about it other than JT. Call me. We're gonna start, don't pay attention to that, Johnny Book. JT. You have a great behind the scenes man, without a doubt. Tommy's running the show and doing everything that he's done. So he has a lot going on, and he does a great job. And thank you for having us to be part of it, man. A lot of fun, and we will be back again one day soon.
You better believe it. You guys have an open invite to this show.
Thank you, John.
I appreciate it, man.
There's a few things we got going on. We got a special giveaway. This is going to be every week on this show. This is a LA Rams Super Bowl hat, brand new from Fanatics, snapback hat. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw a question out there. The first person to get this question is going to get this hat, going to get sent to him.
12.
Yeah.
I can't be wrong, right?
That's right. That's right.
Women harassed by Joe Namath, 12.
Like 112.
Yeah.
We got to get it up there. But tonight's trivia question, it obviously for the Los Angeles Rams question is, what city was the home for the Rams when they entered the American Football League back in 1936? So the first viewer that's able to get this question right, we're going to send them this hat, as part of the debut episode of the Glory Game NFL podcast. And in closing, I want to announce a few things coming up. Interview with Jim Wexell, obviously one of the great sports writers here in Pittsburgh. He does so many things. I mean, written some incredible books about the Steelers organization. I had the opportunity to sit down with Wex for an interview. We covered a lot of things. So that's coming up on next week's episode of Glory Game NFL podcast. And everything that's going on, like I said, things coming up. We got special guests we're going to be announcing. We have more, obviously giveaways. We're going to be talking hats. We're going to be talking jerseys. We're going to be talking everything that's NFL. We're going to be talking dynasties. Obviously, the Racked and Jack segment every week, you're going to see, player workout routines. And when we get into the season, some of the biggest hits during the season, we want to talk about that. So in closing, I want to say thanks for everybody to tuning in. Debut episode. Man, I couldn't have been happier to have these two guys on. Tommy Florio, Jeff Tolwinski. Love these guys. And remember, Hard Rock and Sports, tomorrow night, tune in, 7 o'clock. You're going to love it. I mean, it's my favorite sports show. I wish I could tune in more, guys. I mean, I tuned in last week. I tune in every chance I get, but I still support it. And I think these guys are the best. So tune in, listen to them. And guys, best of luck with the show.
Thanks, John.
I know you'll be here again.
Yes.
Like I said, you have an open
Anytime
invite.
you need us, John. Anytime you need us.
Yeah.
Got it. And best of luck to the Giants and the Jets this year. I'm looking forward to, let's get some winning out there, guys.
There you go. Thanks, John. I appreciate it, brother.
Best of luck to the Steelers. I mean, first time with a new coach in how many years?
Right.
So it's you're going on uncharted ground too.
That's right. It's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
And the good news is you're not going to have Aaron Rodgers jerking you off until almost July next year. He already announced
that's right.
It.
That's right.
Good for you, man. Congratulations. I tip my hat to you on that one, man. You got rid of that pain in the ass.
And he came back earlier this year, too. I mean,
No.
getting into OTAs, and we were shocked to see that.
But I have to tell you, it's the most questionable quarterback room I've ever seen.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron, you coming back for the Steelers? Yeah.
That is
but next year, that's
quarterback
it.
room. You take a guy last year that you think is going to be your guy, and then you draft another guy this year who's coming off a bad senior year, followed by a guy who's playing out the hit parade. So, I mean, interesting room, John. I'd love to hear you take on it one week. I'm sure you'll talk about it with Wexell next week, so I'll be listening to see what you guys talk about.
Yeah, we talked about it. He has some good takes. So,
right,
like Tommy just made it. GloryGameNFLPodcast.com. Look for us on Sports Bible. JT Sports Bible Universe does a fantastic job. I'm so happy to be here, to have a show like this and be able to talk football. one of the things that I'm passionately about since I was 5 years old, and having these two guys on here was, it was great as a debut episode. So be sure to tune in next week. The Glory Game podcast will be on 8 p.m. every Wednesday night. And then remember, every Thursday night, 7 p.m., Hard Rock and Sports. Get on Facebook page and listen to these guys. Tommy and Jeff, do a fantastic job. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Tommy and Jeff, thanks for being involved in this, man. It really, hits me in the heart to have guys like you and friends like you. It really does. Thank you.
We love you. We wish you the best and much success to both you guys. And we'll look for you down the item. We'll be checking you out on Wednesday nights, and we'll mention you on Thursdays as well. So good luck.
No doubt. Thank you, John. Thanks for having us, man.
Have a good night, everybody.
See you later.
Lights come on and the week fades away. Heads there ready, time to talk ball today. From the first snap to the final drive, this is where the love of football comes alive. John's on the mic with the passion and pride, breaking down the game from every side. Big hits, big plays, stories untold, football dreams in black and gold. It's more than a game, it's a feeling we know. From the backyard grass to the stadium glow, every fan, every team, every name, we all come together for the glory game. This is glory game.